On the coast of Northern Ireland, a vast plateau of basalt slabs and columns called the Giant's Causeway stretches into the ocean. The scientific explanation for this is that it's the result of molten lava contracting and fracturing as it cooled in the wake of a volcanic eruption. But an ancient Irish myth has a different accounting. According to legend, the giant Finn McCool lived happily on the North Antrim coast with his wife Una. Their only disturbance came from the taunts and threats of the giant Benandonner, or the Red Man, who lived across the sea in Scotland. The two roared insults and hurled rocks at each other in dramatic shows of strength. Once, Finn tore up a great clump of land and heaved it at his rival, but it fell short of reaching land. Instead, the clump became the Isle of Man, and the crater left from the disturbed earth filled with water to become Loch Ness. The giant's tough talk continued until one day Benandonner challenged Finn to a fight, face to face. And so the Irish giant tossed enough boulders into the sea to create a bridge of stepping stones to the Scottish coast. Finn marched across in a fit of rage. When Scotland loomed before him, he made out the figure of Benandonner from afar. Finn was a substantial size, but at the sight of his colossal enemy thundering towards him, his courage faltered. With one look at Benandonner's thick neck and crushing fists, Finn turned and ran. Back home, with Benandonner fast approaching, Finn trembled as he described his enemy's bulk to Una. They knew that if he faced Benandonner head-on, he'd be crushed. And so Una hatched a cunning plan. They needed to create an illusion of size to suggest Finn was a mountain of a man, whilst keeping him out of sight. As Benandonner neared the end of the bridge, Una stuffed her husband in a huge cradle. Disguised as an enormous baby, Finn lay quiet as Benandonner pounded on the door. The house shook as he stepped inside. Una told the enraged visitor that her husband wasn't home, but welcomed him to sit and eat while he waited. When Benandonner tore into the cakes placed before him, he cried out in pain, for he'd shattered his teeth on the metal Una had concealed inside. She told him that this was Finn's favorite bread, sowing a seed of doubt in Benandonner's mind that he was any match for his rival. When Finn let out a squawk, Benandonner's attention was drawn to the gigantic baby in the corner. So hefty was the infant swaddled under piles of blankets, Benandonner shuddered at the thought of what the father would look like. He decided he'd rather not find out. As he fled, Benandonner tore up the rocks connecting the shores, breaking up the causeway. What remains are two identical rock formations, one on the North Antrim coast of Ireland and one at Fingal's Cave in Scotland, right across the sea.